All right, it's 5:31. I now call this meeting of the Parks, Recreation, and Arts Commission to order. Would the secretary do a roll call, please?
Yes. Turn down my volume. Commissioner Parks?
Here.
Commissioner Braza?
Present.
Commissioner Singh?
Present.
Commissioner Cummings?
Recording in progress.
Here.
I see you there. Commissioner Miller? Absent. Commissioner Apuda? Commissioner Vang?
I'm here.
Commissioner Barraza, did I call your name?
Yes, you did.
Okay, and Vice Chair Dolan?
Here.
And Chair McCoy. Before we move forward, it looks like Commissioner Apuda is in attendance as well.
Present.
All right, we will now begin the Pledge of Allegiance. Will everyone please stand? All right, ready? Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We will now start with approval of the agenda. Secretary, are there any changes to the agenda?
I do not have any changes to announce.
Okay. Are there any other proposed changes to the agenda?
Can I make a request?
Yes,
I'd like
Commissioner Parks.
Thank you. So I actually requested item 8A to be included on this agenda, and I requested it as a hearing. And I see that it's listed as a workshop, which I didn't notice right away. So I'd like to respectfully request that we make this item a hearing, and especially because the item was pulled from the last city council agenda. We have an opportunity to do this right, to get the process right, and I would love for us to be able to do that tonight. So I guess that's my request, and then maybe, I'll let you respond.
Well, we can't technically change it to a hearing. It has to be noticed as a hearing. And again, as we have discussed previously, this isn't an item that the commission has authority over because there's no action for the commission to take on this item.
Could you give us, just so we can understand, or so I can understand, a little bit more information about what constitutes a workshop versus a hearing, and what background evidence there is for that? I'm just a little bit confused.
Yeah, sure. So a workshop would be anything brought forth for informational purposes only. Anything that would be listed as a hearing would be, as we've discussed in the past, during the budget process, when you're taking public input, you will be having hearings for specific items to be recommended to the city council, as well as park staff and city manager's office for inclusion in the budget. Additionally, with respect to Measure P funds specifically, once the budget is passed, which this budget has been passed already, if there's any changes to allocations of funds, then those items would come before the commission as an action item for recommendation to the city council. But because the funds for the WRT contracts were already budgeted in the already passed budget, and there's no change in allocation, it's not an action item. You guys already recommended it to city council in June for adoption.
Thanks for that response. I guess just would like to get on the record that this is very disappointing. I think we're not getting the process right here specific to this item. I think the public deserves to have input on it, and I'm disappointed that it didn't get put on the agenda as I requested.
I also would like to, and I concur with Commissioner Parks, I think that from time to time, the commission may have matters that are important to us to convey a certain message to the council. And I think it's up to the commission to decide whether a matter is a hearing or it's a workshop. Because there are times when, like in this particular case, it started all wrong because when the item was first presented, was presented as a hearing, and the commission took an action to postpone action, and it was directed to the council. And so that issue wasn't never settled as to what was our position. And I really believe, and maybe at some point down the road, we could have a workshop on what is the discretion that we as a commission have when we want to convey a certain point to the council, whatever that may be, whether it's positive, negative, or and I'm sure that from time to time we're going to run into a lot of those items where we may not want to have a workshop, where we may want to have a hearing. Just wanted to make that observation.
Does the city have a response to Commissioner Barraza's comment?
Well, again, we can't change this to a hearing. And again, the commission does not have authority to change this to a hearing. You have no action to take on this item. And all authority that the commission does have is in the ordinance. So we can definitely do a workshop on that for you if you would like. You would have to request that be put on the agenda.
All right. Are there any other proposed changes to the agenda by any of the other commissioners?
Chair, I just have to clarify that if you read the text of what is called a workshop, it has an action in it. It says recommend WRT provide professional services. I just wanted to tell you that even the wording of the item is not correct. If it's a workshop, there should not be any kind of action.
That title was simply carried over from the first item that got continued. Nobody has put it back on the agenda and changed that title, but we did change it to a workshop because there is no action for the commission to take.
All right, is there a motion to approve the agenda? Before I do that, Commissioner Parks, are you requesting that the WRT workshop be removed, or?
No, I think we should have the opportunity to discuss it a little bit more. I do have a few questions about it. It's just, again, and let me just say, this is not about WRT. I think, I think we're just not getting the process right, in my opinion. I went back and reviewed the ordinance today, our bylaws. The very first slide in the presentation we received in our first meeting about what our responsibilities are, everything says conduct hearings, receive public input. And I think I think we're getting the process, in my opinion, I think we're getting the process wrong here. I think we have a responsibility to provide oversight. It's not about not wanting to recommend WRT. I just think we should have that opportunity to formally make the recommendation to council. We're setting, in my opinion, we're setting some precedents that just don't feel right to me, because I believe that we have a responsibility to provide oversight. So I think it's worth discussing it. I have a few questions during the workshop, if that's okay, but I do wish that it were a hearing.
Thank you, Commissioner Parks. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Vang. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I didn't see who else did it. Secretary, please conduct a roll call.
Commissioner Parks?
No.
Commissioner Barraza?
Yes.
Commissioner Singh?
Yes.
Commissioner Cummings?
Yes.
Commissioner Apuda? Yes, I see you shaking your head. Commissioner Vang?
Yes.
Vice Chair Dolan?
Yes.
And Chair McCoy?
Yes. We will now move on to approval of minutes. Are there any changes to the minutes of the July 12th, 2021 meeting?
There are no changes on my end.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Motion approved by Vice Chair Dolan. Is there a second?
Also,
Thank you, Commissioner Singh. Secretary, please conduct a roll call vote.
Commissioner Parks,
Yes.
Commissioner Barraza,
Yes.
Commissioner Singh,
yes.
Commissioner Cummings,
Yes.
Commissioner Apuda,
Yes.
Commissioner Vang,
Yes.
Vice Chair Dolan,
Yes.
Chair McCoy.
Yes. Now, are there any changes to the minutes of July 19th, 2021 meeting?
Yes, I have a recommended change. I think for clarity on the motion related to that very last motion we did. I'm trying to take a look at it. ID 21233073. Commissioner Barraza got kicked off because of technical. And so it's troubling to me that he's listed as absent without some explanation. I don't think it's clear that it wasn't, why he was absent. So I just think that should be noted on there, that it wasn't that he, it was that he had internet issues.
I can note that, yes.
Okay.
Thank you for that, Commissioner Apuda. Is there a motion to approve the amended minutes of the July 19th, 2021 meeting?
I'll move.
Thank you, Commissioner Singh. Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you, Commissioner Apuda. Secretary, please conduct a roll call vote.
Commissioner Parks,
Yes.
Commissioner Barraza,
Yes.
Commissioner Singh,
Yes.
Commissioner Cummings,
Yes.
Commissioner Apuda,
Yes.
Commissioner Vang,
Yes.
Vice Chair Dolan,
Yes.
and Chair McCoy.
Yes. And we will now move on to member reports and comments. Are there any commission members that have any reports or comments to make? Commissioner Sarah Parks, do you have any comments or reports to make?
No.
Commissioner Barraza, do you have any comments or reports to make?
No.
Commissioner Singh, any comments or reports to make?
Nope.
Commissioner Apuda, any comments or reports to make?
Yes, I have a comment. Listening to the comments from Commissioner Parks and Commissioner Barraza, I would like to recommend that we do have maybe on our next meeting agenda to discuss the issues around workshops and hearing and commissioner responsibility, because I think their points are well taken, that even though we don't have any specific authority on the issue that we're discussing right now, that sometimes we may want to send a message. And so to be able to take a vote on something, I'm assuming is still something we can do. So to be able to have that clear conversation, if we could have that as an agenda item.
Thank you. Who else? Vice Chair Dolan, any comments or reports to make?
Just a comment. I know that we were working, sorry, I'm getting feedback. I know that we were working to schedule visits to the parks and some of their facilities, and I have not seen that move forward. So I just want to make sure that I hadn't missed something and that we are still planning on doing that.
Yes, there was an email that went out. Fortunately, I was on a 2-week vacation, so I'm just now getting back to work today. So I do recall an email going out with dates for tours, and that I believe there was limited to 3 commissioners per tour. So just look out in your email or go back through your email for those dates. But I do know that it was sent out. Correct, TJ?
Correct. And we've actually only received 3 responses back from 3 commissioners. So if you could please identify that email and we can resend it back out. So we're trying to to plot everything out, and the goal was to have you visit the pools while the community was using the pools. But if we don't meet that goal, that's okay. But we do have one scheduled. We can do the one on the 4th by Commissioner Dolan, and we do have you scheduled on there. We were going to tomorrow morning if you guys were still available.
Great.
Like I said, we only have 3 responses back, and we're trying to plot this all out. So if you haven't responded back yet, I know we're all busy. It's vacation season, but we can get those on the calendar.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Commissioner Cummings, do you have any reports or comments to make?
No, I do not. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Vang, any reports or comments to make?
The only comment I have is I just wanted to congratulate Suni Lee. She's the Hmong American who got the gold medal all around. I don't know if you guys saw that. So I just want to give her kudos. That's about it. Really, we're just so excited in the Hmong community. I know we've been celebrating all week, and we're looking forward on Tuesday and again. So just want to give her a shout out. That's it.
I cried.
I know, it's so emotional, but we're really happy for her, especially her story and her father's story. It was very touching. She made all of us proud.
Thank you for that. I have a comment to make. I know as well as I am, and as well as a lot of you guys are receiving requests for funding for park projects. We have asked City on direction on how should we respond to these requests for allocation of the Measure P funding. And I know the city was working on how can we add them to the agenda. Are we going to add them as a workshop or how we're going to add them to the agenda? So I just would like for city to let other commissioners know that they are working on how can we add them to our agenda to make presentations. So people who are sending the residents or nonprofits who are sending those requests won't feel that they're falling on deaf ears. We're just waiting for direction from city staff.
Madam Chair, if I could add to your comment, I really think that as a basic courtesy, it would be nice to at least acknowledge receipt of those communications and communicate what you just said. Let them, we're a commission of the people, and we really should do a better job of getting back to them and tell them yes, no, or wait, whatever. But let's not ignore those communications, please.
Thank you for that, Commissioner Barraza. I myself as well, I believe as Commissioner Vang has reached out to city staff on how to answer those emails, and we were told just to put them aside until they figure out how to get them on the agenda. So that's what we were doing, but we're still getting them. And I think it's fair to the public and to the people who are sending their requests to know, because I know a lot of the people are on these meetings, to know that they're not falling on deaf ears. We're just waiting on direction from city. So we'll be able to point them in the right direction or put them on the agenda.
Yeah, Chair McCoy, this is Tommy. Where's TJ? TJ, I think we talked a little bit about this. So this is parallel to a similar situation we're having with the ARPA funds, the American Rescue Plan Act. The rules aren't out. We're getting a lot of requests. So we're sending a one-page form to folks. And if they've got an idea, it's one page, kind of defines, the information we look for. We're receiving those. And from individuals or from nonprofits and individuals and companies and everybody from throughout the city, and we are holding on to those, acknowledging thank you for receipt, and then we're holding on to those, and we're just waiting for the final rules to come out on the ARPA stuff before we then reach back out to folks and say, hey, now we know we can or can't or need to adjust. I think what we can do, TJ and Aaron, we can modify that form we're using for the ARPA folks and get that out as well, so people can use that. Then we'll need something submitted in writing in some form, and then once we have all those, we'll just start providing an updated list every meeting with the Parks Commission staff saying, hey, we got 3 more, we got 5 more, we got 8 more, and we'll just give you a kind of a running list of what those are. And we'll also give you the current list of council projects that are actually in the queue working. So you have, these are what requests are out there from the community. These are what are actively being worked on right now. by staff at the request of City Council. So you'll get both lists, but we can let Courtney's not on this call. I don't. Courtney Espinoza, she's the one who's managing the ARPA fund request. So we can do a similar thing here and adapt that form to be a Measure P funding request form, and then we have it in writing. And then again, as we get into this process, we're thinking it's probably around January, because we should get the first official dollar dump from state sales from the sales tax, plus or minus, October, November, and we'll get a sense of, are we on plan or not on plan. But I think then we'll roll them out, because I think January is where we'll start assembling all of the council member ideas, get all these community ideas, and then we got to start, organizing them and reviewing them and evaluating about how do we take the next 6 months to figure out what goes in the budget. So I'll get that form out to Brianna, and then Brianna, we can get that out to each of the commissioners. And then when they get asked, because that's what we're doing with council, if the council gets asked, they either send them to us and we send them the form, or they send them the form and then we get them back. So I'll get the form to Brianna.
Do you know how long it's going to take for us to receive the form?
Yeah, I got to adapt it. So it'll probably, I'm hoping it says, we just changed. I got to remember what that form says. I think it says American Rescue Plan Act funding. We'll just say Measure P funding request form. And it's a fill in the blank kind of thing. It's a PDF that people fill in. I could say Thursday, I should be able to get it to you. I just need to get with Courtney tomorrow, ideally, and then I can get it to Brianna. We'll edit it and I'll get it to Brianna. So you'll get it Wednesday, Thursday, once we finalize it.
So Tommy, is the idea that we would have that to respond to the public with, and we would say,
yeah, we're doing it both ways. You could either have them say, hey, that's a great idea, and then give them TJ's information or Aaron's information, and then they can go ahead and communicate with the individual to fill out the form. Or like some council members are sending out the form on the ARPA side, and then we're just getting the forms filled out. Some people are sending in full-blown proposals. We've gotten full-blown proposals as well. So it's coming in on the ARPA side. It's coming in all kinds of different forms, but we want to get it in writing from people that we can contact and call them back.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, we will now move on to unscheduled communication. Scheduled communication. Item 7A, introduction by Councilmember Tyler Maxwell. Councilmember Maxwell, you have 3 minutes to speak.
Yeah, thank you, Chair McCoy. Good evening to all the commissioners. I know most of you fairly well, and for those of you I haven't had the opportunity to meet yet, I look forward to sitting down and talking to you in the near future. Just wanted to say hello. Again, my name is Tyler Maxwell, council member for District 4, which is East Central Fresno. I'm also the chair of the City Council Parks Committee, so I have a huge vested interest in our parks. I ran on a strong parks platform. My first resolution on the council was to reintroduce Measure P so that the City Council could find that it had passed by a simple majority vote. So I'm really excited with the work that you all have put in so far. I wanted to say hello because I know that you usually have the City Attorney's Office on the call. You have the administration, but I know it could be useful to also have the legislative branch also present during these meetings for questions, for comments. So I might not be on the call, but my district director, Carmen Inigus, will be on. If I'm not, I don't know if you're here now, Carmen, but if you are, could you say hello? I think she might have popped off for a second.
Hi, I am here.
Okay. Can you just introduce yourself, Carmen, and then put your phone number and email in the chat for the group?
Yes, of course. My name is Carmen Inigus. I'm the district director with the Office of the Council Member. I'm here for anything that you may need to reach out to our office for. I will share my email address and my cell phone number, so you'll be able to reach me.
And Carmen, if you don't mind, you can go ahead and email me that information, and I'll make sure that I get it out to all of the members.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to Carmen or myself. I don't know what the status of these recommendations on things like the contract today are, but I respect all of your opinions. So if any of you would like to individually meet with me and give me your opinions or insights onto, a presentation that you've had regarding a contract or another matter, please reach out to me. Be happy to have a cup of coffee with you. and hear you out. But I just wanted to say hello and really impressed with all the work that everybody's doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Maxwell. Would any member of the public like to speak on any issue within the jurisdiction of the commission? You have 3 minutes.
Yes, the first person we have is Natasha.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, thank you. My name is Natasha Biasel, and I am the Communications Director for the Fresno for Parks Coalition. I would like to thank the Commission for their work. I know this is a big task that you guys have on your hands to roll out and implement the funds from Measure P. I had a specific question regarding the form that Mr. Escueda was describing. As the person who communicates for our coalition, it would be really helpful to have access to that form because I receive a lot of requests, probably similar to what you guys are receiving regarding ideas for parks and projects. And it would be great to have some sort of clear communication path between forms like that and opportunities for public input to be given to our coalition so that we can support you guys in your efforts to gather community input. So if that is something that maybe we could work through or have some sort of direct line of communication when forms like that are made available or specific opportunities for the community to give input, that would be fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Do we have any other members of the public, City Clerk?
Yes, next we have Sharon.
Good evening, Commissioners. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Sharon Weaver, Executive Director of the San Joaquin River Parkway and Conservation Trust. I just wanted to take a few minutes and mention that I have reviewed some of the videos from the previous meetings and reviewed some of the presentations on your responsibilities as commissioners. And I noted that there was a lot of emphasis placed on your responsibility to make recommendations, but there is very little emphasis placed on your oversight responsibilities. And I just want to point out that oversight is your primary responsibility. If you look at the language in the Measure P Ballot Act, it says right up in the title, a measure with independent oversight and accountability. And the voters of our community are counting on all of you to carry out that independent oversight. And sometimes that means that you're going to be standing up and arguing with the city's legal counsel and with other people. And we encourage you to stand strong in your oversight responsibilities because that's what we need you to do, is to provide oversight. So I just wanted to give that little kind of cheer to all of you, and thank you for your work, and be strong in your oversight responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Weaver. City Clerk, go ahead.
Sorry. Next we have Gabriel Lozano.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. My name is Gabriel Lozano, United States Navy veteran, a community member of Southeast Fresno. I'd like to say something I said before. Congress in the 70s passed statistical analysis for minorities to find out where they stood in a lot of different matters to select for racism. And I'm going to come back to that. But what I want to interject is I've grown up in Southeast Fresno, lack of parks. I posted on Facebook. I created a site for parks. A lot of educational stuff. We have a lack of parks. Growing up as a kid, nowhere to play. A lot of minority kids. Southeast Fresno is 75% Latino as of right now. You add African Americans, it's going to go up. You have our brothers, the Hmong community or Southeast Asians, and then you throw in poor people or people that are in health, have health problems. So I've been in all these meetings. I don't see anything changing. I think it's going to continue. And then since it's, with the statistical analysis, to me, it's racism towards Latinos or people of color because nothing is being done. We talk about conflict of interest, and they had a presentation. The lawyers, lawyers, but we have council members before that presentation fighting or presenting what they could use. Everybody was jumping for the Measure P money. I think that they need to fill out forms too, just like the general public. I just think there's a lot of wrong, and I think it's going to continue if things don't change. And like the person mentioned before, sometimes you don't have to be the popular person and do what's right. There's a lot of discrepancy in Southeast Fresno, and it breaks my heart when I see the kids playing in the streets or ball goes into the street and I have to get off, and it's a shame that there's a lot of neglect, and it's continuing. I respect all of you. I like the job that you're doing as far as committing your time, because I commit myself to a lot of the public. But I want to let you know that I won't give up. I'll continue to monitor, and I'll continue to motivate in Southeast Fresno. We want change, and we're ready for change, and we're getting ready to make that change and to show the city that things have to change for people of color, especially for me. And Yvette, before anybody says about racism and all that, my daughter is Latina. She's half African American. Beautiful cultures. My hero is gay. My best friend is white. I believe in equality, unity within our diversity, and it's not happening. We talk about one Fresno excluding us in the South. With that, I thank you for everything you do, and have a great day. See you next week or the next meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Lozano.
Next, we have Brandon Taylor.
Good evening, everyone. Hopefully you're able to hear me.
Yes, sir.
First, I wanted to say congratulations to you all on your appointment to the commission here. My name is Dr. Brandon Taylor, referred to me as Brandon. I know many of the folks on my screen here and have connected with some of you as well. Just wanted to introduce myself. I am a faculty member at Fresno State in the Recreation Administration Department. I coordinate our community recreation, youth, and senior services option, where we look at primarily my focus is in equitable park programming and services. So really what I want to do is just provide an opportunity to engage our students in any kind of research or needs that you may have. I know we're working with some of the folks that you have working in the Parks Department there. I'm also a former employee of the Parks Department, so I have a pretty good perspective and understanding of the issues and concerns here in Fresno. But I know that you have a master plan currently in the contracting phase, but if there's more small, focused, localized types of research opportunities to get our students involved and our faculty involved, we'd definitely be interested. And I will provide my contact to TJ to forward out, and would love to connect or reconnect with you all as soon as possible. Thank you.
Okay. And Chair McCoy, that is all our public comment.
Thank you. We will now move on to new matters and workshops. Workshops are for informational purposes only. The commission will not be taking any action and will not be taking public comment on them. New matters and workshop. We will start with item 8-A, workshop number 2, agreement between City and Wallace, Roberts and Todd. Recommended WRT provide professional services for planning, urban design, and development of parks and open spaces to update the city existing parks master plan. This is a workshop number 2 for this item, and the third time the item has been before this commission. Does staff have any additional information to provide to this commission regarding this item?
This is Tommy. I don't recall we had put it on the agenda, but I can report that we did not approve the contract at the last council meeting, and that was my fault. I had understood direction was to get input from the Parks Commission, but actually Councilmember Maxwell at the diocese said get input from the Parks Committee. And so that was my mistake. So we are scheduling a meeting with the Parks Committee. I think Francine, Assistant City Manager, is working to schedule a meeting for WRT to meet with the Parks Commission, the Parks Committee, which I believe is Councilmember Maxwell, Councilmember Soria, and Councilmember Arias. And so that'll happen. We're working to schedule that meeting, and it'll basically be a replay of the meeting we did with you with the Parks Commission, where WRT will just walk through the scope of work and then be available for any questions and comments from the committee. So that's what's happened since the last time we've met. And so this will be up for consideration by the council on July 19th, August 19th. August 19th. That's our update on this item.
Oh, when you said July 19th, I was like, I'm still on vacation.
I know, sorry. Yeah.
No, it's okay. Do any commission members have any additional questions for staff or WRT? Is WRT on the line tonight?
No, WRT is not available for this meeting. Again, Brianna, how did this one get on the agenda?
At the request of Commissioner Parks.
Okay, great. Yeah, we hadn't scheduled WRT for this item.
Commissioner Parks, do you have any additional questions for city staff?
I do. And I just bring up one thing. I'm sorry to be the pain in the group. I just want to make sure I know that we're not taking action tonight. And so I'm sure the answer will be there's no conflict of interest, but I just want to make sure that President BHG and Chair McCoy are not going to have any problems later on, having been involved in this discussion. Really, I just want to make sure that you're good to go and your organization is good to go and that we're doing this above board. So my first question, I reviewed the contract a little bit more thoroughly today, and there's not much information in it regarding the schedule. And I went back and watched our presentation, and there wasn't much information in the presentation either. So the contract states that the schedule is supposed to start on May 24th, which obviously that's not possible. So do you have a sense for what the schedule for the scope of work is going to look like?
I'll look for TJ and Aaron to possibly chime in as well, but we will, once the contract is approved, we will modify the agreement. The agreement has a blank spot where we put the date. So we said May 24th. So now theoretically we'll put August 19th. We might not actually put the date of the start date on the contract till we get all the forms, the insurance forms and all those other things. But right now that date will be changed to August 19th. And then I'll have to look at the more detailed schedule. Sometimes they're days after notice to proceed, weeks after notice to proceed, or things milestone schedules that they're scheduling that they're proposing to hit during the course of the project. But it'll be changed to August 19th plus or minus.
I would just like to add to that the one of the scope of WRT is to serve as a support for the commission, and there are deadlines that the commission has within Measure P. So that would be one of the top priorities, is hitting those scheduled deadlines, because you guys do have, I believe the most recent one, and Christy, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is by December 31st in terms of defining the neighborhoods of greatest need. And there'll be a step through that.
Highest needs neighborhoods need to be defined by December 31st, 2021, and the City Council has to adopt that definition by January 1st, 2022. So technically really mid-December to get that done.
Correct. And so they'll be providing the materials that you will all use to make those decisions and help you with those guidance. So if that helps at all, Commissioner Parks, in terms of the timeline, it may get a little shifted in terms of tasks because this will become number one.
And then in the staff reports to council, the funding allocation is listed at $552,090, but the budget within the scope is a little bit different. It's like $547. So there's like a $5,000 discrepancy. I was just curious about that, and if you could tell us what the actual appropriation in this fiscal year budget is for this work, because the way I was reading it today, it looks like there's kind of phase one tasks, and then there's what's listed in the scope as optional services. So the staff report seems to say that we're going to do everything that's listed in there, but the contract itself kind of outlines 2 phases of work. So I was curious what that's going to look like.
The entire amount was appropriated this fiscal year, and anything that doesn't get encumbered will be carried over. into the next fiscal year.
And so if, okay, I understand.
Also, when I saw the budget of the contract, I saw an allocation of about $100,000 for outreach. And one of the things that was discussed at one of our previous meetings, Mr. John Gibbs indicated that he will be willing to reach out to other organizations that are very entrenched in the community. Fresno Building Healthy Communities has done a wonderful job in the community, but there are many other groups that could also be part of the outreach. And I think we should not be exclusive. We should be inclusive. We should promote the involvement, engagement of as many groups as possible. And if there's a way to compensate those groups, so be it, in accordance with whatever rules we have to follow. But I just wanted to point it out. And by the way, WRT is the best. I think the city manager's office did a wonderful job, and Parks in selecting this group, because they have a lot of experience. And I know that I'm preaching to the choir, right? It's a very good landscape architect that I think will do an excellent job for the community.
And I think that would be on the outreach. If I recall correctly, WRT had identified the individual that's going to kind of lead that effort. And so I think what we expect is that they will then take input from you folks and others in the community on who are those agencies, organizations, nonprofits that we need to engage with to get input about. First, these first couple of things out of the box, it's the high needs neighborhood existing definition, and then the new definition of high needs neighborhood. So I think we work with that group, and then it's just the park needs elements. We've got a similar example. We're working with one of the council members on a park down in the Tower District. They have a lot of people that have a lot of interest in participating in that park design. And so what we've agreed to do with that council district is to meet with them, identify all of the individuals, groups, agencies, organizations that want to have input on how that park gets designed. And then we'll organize a process where we can engage with each of them, individually as a group, and have them participate in designing that project. That's a very specific to a park design. This one is, again, is about updating the master plan, high needs neighborhoods, the new definition of high needs neighborhoods, and helping us get that input for that process, and then continue that on as we get into the budget on prioritizing the projects as they come up. This form we're going to get you guys. So there'll be a lot of opportunity for input on how we want to move forward on parks. Again, starting with the high needs neighborhoods existing definition, and then high needs neighborhood new definition. I do apologize. I forgot the lady's name. I forgot the young lady's name that they had identified.
Sheila.
Oh, okay.
I think it's Sheila.
Yeah, Sheila.
I did have, I'm sorry, one last another question. So the appropriation for this, is it funded by Measure P dollars, or is it funded by general parks budget dollars?
Henry's not here, but I do believe this is funded out of the Measure P allocation. But I can find out for you on that one.
I think that would be good, because I'm curious, and I asked in a meeting with city attorneys last week, what bucket would this fall under?
This would be part of and again, what we could do, because it's the whole master plan. So
right.
It's going to be the first one has the maintenance and rehab of existing. The second one had the new parks. And then there was a third one about programming, senior, youth, and that piece of the programming. So I believe it was going to be spread across those three. But again, we can check the allocation of how we were. And again, it could be it's all in the general fund. But we'll double check that for you.
I think that's important for us to know. I mean, I know I hear the message that we, in our recommendation to council for the budget, made a recommendation to approve this, but we clearly didn't know where this funding was coming from. So I'm going to just advocate again, we can still do this right. We could bring this back as a hearing and do this right, so that we're providing the oversight that we're supposed to be providing for these dollars. Because in any meetings we've had in the past, it wasn't clear to me that that this potentially would have funding from, each of the individual buckets. And this is what we're here to provide oversight for.
We'll get you the number. I don't think Henry's on the line.
No, Tommy, he's not.
Okay.
Is there any other questions for city staff in regards to this item from the commissioners? All right, we will now move on to item 8B. Hearing number 2, Commission Ad Hoc Subcommittee assignments and/or appointments. As you are aware, this commission voted at the July 19th, 2021 meeting to form 3 ad hoc subcommittees, which include a master parks plan subcommittee, cultural arts plan subcommittee, and a highest needs neighborhood definition subcommittee. According to Article 5, Section 1 of the Commission bylaws, the chairperson shall appoint such subcommittees of commission members. So what I would like to do right now is that I would like to establish a 3-person subcommittee. I'm asking just one assignment per commission member. Commission members do not vote on approval, so no public comment is necessary to take, and my word is final. And I would like volunteers on which committee is most interest to the commissioners before I start applying.
Chair, I'd like to be in the cultural arts.
Cultural arts, okay.
Madam Chair, I would be happy to serve on the master planning subcommittee.
Okay, one moment here.
Okay. Any other volunteers?
Yes, this is Commissioner Cummings, and I'm interested in the Parks Master Plan.
Commissioner Apuda?
I could go either the cultural arts plan or highest needs. You can put me on whichever of those two you think is most appropriate.
Okay, I will place you on the highest needs.
You did that so quickly.
Well, I had pre-did it. So I'm glad that you said that one. So that's the one.
I would like to, same as Commissioner Apuda, either on the highest needs or cultural arts.
All right, I'll put you on the highest needs as well. And I'm also on the highest needs. So that's our 3.
Madam Chair, isn't the higher needs a component of the master plan?
From my understanding, it's separate because we're identifying the parks with the highest needs, and the Parks Master Plan is doing an update to the current master plan. Can city staff please explain the difference?
Yeah, this is Tommy again. Oh, there's John Gibbs. Hey, there he is. Okay. Hey, yeah, the highest needs neighborhood is going to be, you guys are going to work on a new definition of what that is, and in the policy, in the ordinance, it has a list of criteria to consider. And if you look at those criteria, it's really kind of a GIS-based analysis. It's got census tract data, proximity data, location data. It's all of the things related to that. So I think that, as Chair McCoy I think that could be a standalone item. And then the master plan update is, regardless of where they are, what's the condition, what's the quality, what's the nature, character, what are the things we need to do to improve them, and then we bring those two things together. But they'll definitely be brought together as you guys discuss the budget recommendations for next year with council. Highest needs in terms of highest needs neighborhoods, highest needs in terms of just facility, just needs repair, replacement, rehab, or new parts. So you'll use both those sets of information to prepare the data. To prepare the recommendations for the budget next year.
Commissioner Barraza, do you have a preference over the Cultural Arts Plan Subcommittee or the Parks Master Plan Subcommittee?
I will go with the master plan.
Okay, so that's our three. We have Commissioner Vice Chair Dolan, Commissioner Cummings, and Commissioner Barraza. On the highest needs, we have Commissioner Oputa, Commissioner Singh, and myself. And we need, so I guess the remaining commissioners will be on the cultural arts. Yay, we did it. It just got really quiet. All right, well, that's all. I'm surprised we are ending this meeting. This meeting is adjourned at 6. Yes. I was ready to slam the gavel. Yes, Commissioner Vane.
Actually, this is Brianna. Chrissy, do we need to take a vote on that or? Okay, thank you.
All right, I've seen a couple of hands from commissioners. Commissioner Vane, you had a question or a comment?
No, I was just going to say thank you. My son is like, Mom! We just got back from vacation. We had gone to so many states. So I'm like, Mom, I'm hungry. So thank you. Sorry.
Oh, you're welcome. From a mom to a mom. Vice Chair Dolan, you had a comment or question?
No, it was just pure astonishment and joy. It was simply, I was happy that we were done.
All right, well, this meeting is adjourned at 6:23. You guys have a great evening. See you next meeting time.
Recording stopped.